Hello students, in this exercise we're going to write the equation for the line through the points -1/3, 7/3, and 2/3, 5/3. We're going to give the answer in A, slope-intercept form, and B, standard form. Any 2 points determine a line, but in order to write the equation of this line we're going to need to determine the slope. So let's do that. The slope is change in y over change in x. So I'm going to find the change in y by subtracting the y coordinates 7/3 minus 5/3 and dividing that by the difference of the x coordinates in the same order. So subtract -1/3 minus 2/3. -1/3 minus 2/3. Subtracting in the numerator, 7/3 minus 5/3 is 2/3. And in the denominator, -1/3 minus 2/3 is -3/3. This gives us 2/3 divided by -1, which is -2/3. We're going to write the equation of this line using the point-slope formula, which is y minus y sub 1 is equal to the slope times x minus x sub 1. Again, this is the point-slope formula. We use it because we know the coordinates of a point. In fact, we know the coordinates of 2 points, don't we? All right, we're going to pick one of them. Okay, so we know the coordinates of a point, and now we've determined the slope. Now, the point that I'm going to choose is 2/3, 5/3, simply because it has no negative symbols associated with it. Let's substitute values. Y minus y sub 1, or 5/3, is equal to the slope -2/3 times x minus x sub 1, or 2/3. At this step we have the equation of our line, but it's not yet in slope-intercept form as requested. So let's do that by solving for y. We're going to start here by distributing the -2/3. -2/3 times x is -2/3 x, and -2/3 times a -2/3 is a positive 4/9. Next we'll add 5/3 to each side. That gives y is equal to -2/3 x plus 4/9 and plus 5/3 as we add that 5/3 to each side. Now we need to, as a final step, combine these fractions. 4/9 plus 5/3. So in order to do that, we need a common denominator. I'm going to choose the common denominator of 9 because it's the lowest or least common denominator. So let's write 5/3 with a denominator of 9 by multiplying it by 1 in the form of 3/3. That's not going to change the value of that 5/3. It's only going to change the way it looks. 5/3 is equivalent to 15/9, and when added to 4/9 gives 19/9, and therefore we can write our answer then in slope-intercept form as y is equal to -2/3 x plus 19/9. Now in part B we want to also write this equation in standard form. And we're just going to pick up where we left off with part A and convert it to standard form. So just bringing that on down, y equal -2/3 x plus 19/9. Standard form has your x and y terms on the same side, so let's add 2/3 x to each side. That's going to make, on our left-hand side, a positive 2/3 x plus y is equal to 19/9. Another requirement of standard form is that there are no fractions or decimals involved as coefficients. So we're going to eliminate our fractions here by multiplying each side by the lowest common denominator, which is 9. So let's multiply the left side excuse me, by 9 and the right side by 9. Distributing on the left, 9 times 2/3 is 18/3 or 6. And that's our coefficient of x, plus 9 times y is equal to 19 as those 9's divide out. Here we do have our standard form, which, according to our textbook, is defined as the equation of a line in two variables where your x and y terms are on the same side. There are no fractions or decimals, and one more little caveat is that your coefficient of x needs to be a positive number, and in this case it is. Good luck on those.